Industry claims of 5G safety are fraudulent. Previously classified documents of the U.S. Department of Defense show that the government has known since the 50s that EMF radiation can cause harm, which is why they defunded the EPA instead of implementing the safety limits that they had developed. The FCC instead adopted guidelines developed by the industry based on 30-year-old research that has not been updated since. FCC standards of recognizing damage only for thermal causes can no longer be supported based on the current research. There are now over 10,000 scientific studies that show negative biological effects at non-ionizing levels far below FCC standards. This technology has serious potential for harm across multiple life systems of the planet. I will be entering, for the record, multiple documents with numerous scientific studies to show the harm or potential for harm. This is indeed a public health crisis. The science funded by telecom industry is heavily influenced in favor of showing no harm from EMF radiation. The FCC is currently headed by telecom lawyers and former lobbyists. Big Tobacco perfected how to lie in public and fund studies that conveniently show no harm and just enough misleading information to seed doubt and ensure people keep consuming their products. Our corrupt political system has legalized the bribery of our politicians and the outright capture of what should be the people's government and the people's protective agencies. The FCC and EPA are wholly run corporations now, by the corporations. We can all plainly see the corruption. The only good news so far here is that there are multiple cities and states that are currently suing the FCC. Already, the first few cities to implement 5G have been experiencing reports, as my wife just talked about. The science shows that we are affected biologically whether we can feel it or not. EMF has biological effects. A certain percentage of the population is always more susceptible to severe reactions. And at first, many people might not feel symptoms, but everyone will be affected or will know someone who is severely affected. Today, at our current EMF radiation exposures, the California Department of Health and researchers in various countries estimate that somewhere between 3 and 30% of the population suffers from electrohypersensitivity. That's potentially 18,000 severely affected citizens in our small town alone at current EMF radiation levels. But this exposure at EMF is going to increase and more of the population will be affected. My rights and the basic human rights of every citizen are being violated in this attempt to implement this untested technology on the population. Under Article 1, Section 1 of the California Constitution, all people are by nature free and independent and have inalienable rights. Among these are enjoying and defending life, liberty, and pursuing and obtaining safety, happiness, and privacy. And the California Supreme Court versus T-Mobile recently confirmed fundamental rights of local municipalities to protect the health and safety of their citizens. My asks for the elected officials, I'm asking you to protect your citizens, and it falls to our city council to demand legal protections of the citizens as a priority above trying to comply with the FCC's unconstitutional demands. My second ask is with regards to this experimental and untested technology, short of stopping it entirely, is to add a kill clause to the ordinance. If this technology is safe, there shouldn't be any problem adding a kill clause that is triggered by a certain number of citizen deaths or severe harm, etc. That will result when the 5G permits for the towers could be revoked. When you come to understand the current EMF research on EMF radiation, as I do, you would ban 5G entirely. This is not fear-mongering. This is clearly based on understanding the scientific evidence of harm. Thank you.